All right, it's Tuesday night, it's Torah study night, and tonight we are continuing through the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis. We are on Vayera, Parsha Vayera, and we're going to go through this process that we usually do, which is we'll start off with prayer time, and then go into the reading of this portion, and then we'll discuss the portion. Announcements-wise, I'll give a couple of brief ones right now, and then we'll do them again in between the reading and the discussion. Let's see. What do I want to remind everyone? I don't have to tell you where we're having services because we're having them in the same place every week now, okay, which is really great. And so that's been a blessing, and we are still working on the building. And so actually, let's see. Who do I want to mention? Somebody in here. Let's see. David Hayes, between you and Daniel and Marty, let's try to get some progress as we go along pictures of the building. We can maybe post some progress pictures. That would be good. So people can see. It's a Dalton Pike 37323. Yeah, time lapse would be great, but we don't really have cameras set up for that. Is that right? So I think that's the right address. Okay, mine is. Okay, well, I think I got the right one then. Okay, so that's the new address there. Okay, but so that should really help as far as things go. Okay, thank you, Rabbi Tom and Robert. All right, so the building's going great. We've got a lot of new things that we're doing renovation-wise, and we're very excited about the renovations and the work that's getting done. We have a lot of really great helpers helping to get things done, so it's very exciting. We have coming up in November 8th, which is a Thursday night, we'll be doing Rosh Chodesh for Kislev, because Kislev 1 will be on Friday the 9th. We'll be doing that live from the new building. Okay, so we should have that going. Also on the announcements, if you're here locally, we are going to be doing Thanksgiving together on Thursday the 22nd. And then I think we will be having our grand opening on November 24th or December 1st as we get the building ready for a grand opening, probably the 24th. For those who want to come for Thanksgiving and stay for the long weekend and also be at our grand opening, our official grand opening. I mean, obviously we're using the building already. Happy birthday, Chuck. We start sending tithes to the new address. You can, and I'll get them from there. You can start sending them there. We should have somebody picking up the mail every day from there for me, so that you can start doing that. Wouldn't it? You know, yeah, yeah. Start sending them to the new address. That's fine. I'm just not there every day yet, so and I need to be there. Yes, we have a mailbox put on, so we got a mailbox. We're getting deliveries now. I don't know if we're getting any mail. Robert, are we getting any mail? Is anybody checking the mailbox? I have no idea. Maybe David knows. As in David Hayes, not David Bob Greece, because he's up in Canada. All right. So I think that'll cover it for the short announcements. Let's see. I'm looking at my calendar to see if there's anything else coming up that we need to be aware of. The next general session will be on November 11th. Okay, that's Sunday night, November 11th, 8 p.m. I think that's going to cover it for the announcements. Okay, so nothing's coming in the box right now. Good. David's checking the mail. Good. All right, so I'm going to turn this over to David Botwick-Reese. He's going to run you through the prayer time and as well as the readings. Maybe I should wave to everybody first. That's we could do that, I guess. Do a quick wave, because some of you are trying to guess and know what color shirt is it today. As we play everybody's favorite game, what color shirt? And the winner is black. And somebody accidentally clicked on the camera and turned their camera on. Barbara, we got yours turned off real quick. Okay, so the camera, the color is black. Yay! Okay. Little coin scratch. Michael Norwood, I'll tell you what, somehow Michael gets a spy cam somewhere to figure out what color I'm wearing every day because he seems to catch it. I think he got me 4 or 5 days in a row at Sukkot. He matched shirts with me. Good job, Michael. Okay, I don't know whose mic was on. Okay. Anyway, love you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, creepy. All right. David, since you're going to run the beginning half of this, you can get on there and wave too if you want to go ahead and start your cam and just say hello.
Hello.
You can do that.
I'll stop moving for a second. Shalom. But I will keep moving because my coin is by the Bible, and I can't wave without the coin. Shalom, shalom.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and now pass the mic over to David. David's going to go ahead and take over from here. I will jump back in about an hour.
Shalom, everyone.
Somewhere around 9 o'clock.
Let's see that silver.
You can finish the reading.
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm on my headphones. Echo. All right. See what I can do. One dinner, so there are sounds of the kitchen. Try that again. Am I still garbled? Better.
David, you did sound better. Now we don't hear anything. I don't know what happened.
Along the way. I sounded what?
It did sound better, but then
All right,
it disappeared completely. All right, well, tell you what. I'll do it today. Okay, apparently we're having some technical difficulties. If you have a praise report or prayer request, go ahead and type it in, or you can raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and take care of these things. Oh, let's see where we go first. Lynn, congratulating the birth of your beautiful grandson, Diane Bloom. She's saying congratulations. Many unspoken for Lisa Hoff. Okay, let's see. Unspoken for Erica Barker. Several unspokens for Kelly West. Michael Norwood, unspoken. Tammy, unspoken. Carrie Gephardt, unspoken. Erica, are you the one that's in Belize? And I think I was supposed to call you or something. So can you try to reach me again tomorrow? Okay. Then we could try to get connected. I know that I was supposed to call you. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to that. It's been a tough couple of weeks getting everything done. What time is good? I'm hearing an echo. Somebody's got their mic or speakers on still. I don't know whose it is. I am hearing an echo. I found it. Okay. Good. Okay, I think I got the person. Okay. So, let me go back to the prayer request. We had some unspoken. Let's see. Young adults, Torah Observant, and unsaved, University of Toronto, need fellowship. It's from Santi. Santi, before you use the word unsaved, you have to go back to listen to the Are You Saved teaching. That's not a term we use around here. Okay, my talk on parenting children and of developmental disorder to Chinese Christian parents tomorrow morning. We'll certainly pray for those things. Okay? All right, but we are all unsaved based on the definition that I did in the teaching. We're in the process of salvation. We're working on walking out our salvation with fear and trembling. We're being saved day by day. Okay? All right, let's see. Greg and Mary, healing and unspoken, please. John and Roberta. Roberta's plate has dropped to below normal again. Please pray. Diane Bloom, while I have happy addition with my grandson, my depression is running deep and have anxiety with financial pressures facing me and the amount of work I have to deal with after being gone since the 23rd of September. Also for Hannah, because the anniversary of her father's death is nearing. Certainly we can pray for all those things. Beth Smith, praise the promotion my husband was told he was getting finally came through. Amen. Dawn Taylor, praise Dava for the awesome leadership in MTOI. Thank you for that. I'm glad that we have been a blessing. Erica wants to know what time tomorrow is good for me. Anytime after 11 Eastern time. Okay, you'll probably get Robert first, and then he'll pass you over to me. You know what, Robert? When Erica calls, just give her my cell phone or give her the number here so she can call here directly. Okay, and that'll be easier. Okay. Let's see. Diane said, okay. Rabbi Tom, expedite move, strength for Joanne and packing. So Rabbi Tom and Rebbetzin Joanne are moving from Calhoun, Georgia to Cleveland, Tennessee, within, I don't know, a mile and a half to, or if it's that far from the building. So that's going to be great. Ian in Hawaii, unspoken. Let's scroll up here so I don't miss all these ones that are posting, as you guys are typing so quick. Let me see. Okay, Bob and Cher, hello from San Antonio. Please pray for protection for the U.S. borders. Also, upcoming elections, protection for all in leadership authority. Thank you. And another person whose mic is on. Okay. Just check and make sure that you click on your mic to make sure they get a red line through them. They're muted, or that you don't activate your mic at all, and then you don't have to mute them at all. All right, let's see. Let's see where I was up to. Rachel J., my praise is that the doctors are wrong, and it is not malignant lymphoma with my daughter. They have no idea what is wrong, but at least it is not lymphoma. Awesome. We'll pray that they'll find out what it is and that it's something easy enough to fix, or better yet, that it just goes away. Laura, praise that my friend Lisa from Brantford, Ontario is joining us for the first time for Torah study. Welcome, Lisa. All right, let's see. David says, I'm back if you need anything. Okay, well, that's okay. I'll just continue. Tom and Carmen, unspoken prayer from our son, Larry, and Tanya and Izzy. I've gotten hired at a job, and they have delayed my start time due to more paperwork. All I want is to start working. So frustrated. That is frustrating. We certainly can pray with you. Carolyn in Ohio, can I call you tonight after study? Yes, but you have to remind me at the end of the study so I can sort of rack, stack, and pack you guys in the right order for those that want to talk to me tonight after the study. Laura in Oregon, praise. I slept well the last 2 nights. Huge answer to prayer. Rick Berry, prayer request regarding business decisions being made by others. Okay. Helen Sue, one of my friend's sisters recently had cancer surgery on her face, major surgery. Pray for quick healing. Thanks. Absolutely. Laura Lee, my health, also the healing of the nation's ministry guidance for from Father. I'm not familiar with the Healing for the Nations ministry, and so I don't know anything about them. So let's please leave other ministries sort of out of the mix here while we're doing this study, because I don't want to promote or endorse or do anything for a ministry that I don't know anything about. Certainly we'll pray for your health, though. Okay, Kibrudio, praise to Abba for our mishpacha and all the support given last week while I was in trial. Okay, awesome. Okay, Janice is praying for me, my family, as well as the staff here. Thank you, Janice. Stephen Gwen, prayer for a friend. His wife has gotten a brain cancer tumor. Prayer for court on the 30th. Read the children. His children, there's a court date for custody issues. All right, Lynn, miss and love you tons. Diane Bloom, can't believe that you still haven't made it home from the feast. Pray for you and dear Hannah. Bib family, please continue to pray for us with our move. We have found a house and should be moving week after next. Next step, securing the right job. Are you moving here? Bib family? Or is it going to be over there still? Well, I'll catch that when I scroll down in a minute. Okay. Chris and Tiffany, praise. Cole got a job at Walmart. Eric at Cracker Barrel. Praying each boy will be able to transfer in their jobs for the big Cleveland move. More people coming. Okay, guys, I'm glad you're renovating the building. Now we got to go build a new one because we need a bigger building. Okay. Olivier and Janet, prayer for my back. That's for Olivier. Okay, certainly. Let's see. Craig Lane, praise for all Abba is doing to serve the body through MTOI and why MTOI. Prayers for our leadership and their families. Thank you, Craig. Larry, Tanya, and Izzy, prayers also for her husband and I's 15th anniversary on the 25th. Too many more. Okay. Tammy Caballero, prayers for my headache and my friend who is dying of life, ER cancer. Okay. Let's see. Lorraine, prayer for good weather for flea market on Sunday. I need tires for my car, trying to sell my stuff. All right, that's no problem. Unspoken for Alana. David Baba Grease, praise and prayer combo. Rabbi has booked his flight to visit Alberta in November. I have? No, I have. That's exciting. I'm going to be in Alberta November 11th through 14th. And if anybody is in that area or wants to be in that area to see me while I'm there, contact David to schedule. Okay? I will be in Alberta, Ontario, generally between the Edmonton and Red Deer areas in central Alberta, so the north central to mid Alberta. In November 11th, that's a Sunday through Wednesday the 14th. So I'll probably be able to see people on the 12th and the 13th. The 2 other days will be travel days. David says, prayers for safe travels for him and prayer for wisdom and guidance for me and my new responsibilities, please. We are meeting this Shabbat for the first time in our reboot as a congregation. Amen. Tammy, it's liver cancer. Okay, not life cancer. Okay. So Tammy's prayer was for a friend who's dying of liver cancer. Okay, Claudia Kudo, please pray for promotion at my workplace. Thank you. Aaron Sullivan, prayers for Maurice and Eilina for shalom and the busyness of moving and safety and traveling as they make the move from Virginia to Tennessee tomorrow. Wow, they'll be here soon. Awesome. Let's see. We'll keep scrolling down here. David and Amy, praise Yah for this Torah study and those attending. Rabbi Tom and Joanne, my grandniece August has Ewing's sarcoma, undergoing chemo, age 12. Also, prayer please for granddaughter Hannah, age 12. Naomi, please pray for my work and family and an older couple that I take care of. Olivia and Janet, unspoken, please. The Bibb family says, yes, sir. Okay, so that means you're coming here. Oh, that is awesome. The family here is growing quickly. Prayer for my father's visa to join me here in the States is from Naomi. Michael Norwood prays Yah for the moves to Beth Shalom. Okay, David Amy, look up. You just need balcony seating. I don't know we could actually drop that from our ceiling in the gym, but, you know, that certainly is an idea. Let's see. Rabbi Tom says, Nolan, you'll probably beat us getting there. Yeah, but you're not that far already, Rabbi Tom, and you do come to services every week, something Nolan has not been able to do. Okay. Chris and Terry, we will teach the rabbi how to curl. Really? I've always wanted to do that, and I'm not being sarcastic. I would love to try curling. That would be so much fun if we could do that. David, okay, laugh out loud, Zim. I'll laugh out loud. I'd like to actually try that. Okay. Raymond, praying for Yesenia's brother Timo, who is dealing with what he believes is a spiritual attack. Dear family, Rob Tom, that just means that we'll be there to help you all get all moved. There you go. See how that all works? Rebecca Simpson, shalom. You all pray for Uncle John's recovery and an unspoken for our family. AJ Bogle, praise report, unspoken deliverance. Let's see. David Amy, a mezzanine? No, we have room to build a bigger worship center in front of the building we have now. And so that's something we can do. We just don't have the funds for it. So if you want to pray that the funds keep and continue to come in, keep growing as we grow, that they will be able to have the necessary funds to handle the growth that we're having. And there is a lot of that. All right, let's see what I leave off here. Raymond, continued prayer also for the full restoration of the body of a singable set of all 150 Tehillim, cohesive, good quality, and without relying on increasing resources. Okay, that'd be good to restore to the body a singable set of all the 150 Psalms. That'd be great. Okay. Okay, David says, I'm going to get poutine. That's good stuff, too. Curling, and maybe even a hockey game will give you the full Canadian experience. Fantastic. All right. Let's see. Raymond, most of us have no idea what we're missing, not regularly singing from Tehillim each day. That's true. The Rebbetzin says, how about ice carving? Laugh a lot. And she loves poutine. All right. Robert and Nancy Prodell, unspoken prayer and praise. Rabbi Tom reminds us that all the Psalms were sung. Okay, Kendall, prayer my household, my niece who has been staying with us for the school year while her mother and her work on themselves and their relationship has been actively trying to say anything she can to relatives to try and get out of staying with us. She's been trying to manipulate grandparents. Been called a Jewish boot camp by one grandmother, but I was able to keep the fruit of the Spirit while explaining and defending our way of life and how we are actually the safest place for her right now. We have been apologized to, and the family does agree that she needs to be with us. So there is a praise in the storm, and I would like prayers for some extreme back pain over the past couple of days. Okay? Bob and Yvonne made a nice little pun there. Curling rocks. Since I think they call the thing you throw down the ice the rock. So curling rocks, I get that. Okay. Got to walk in a t-shirt in the snow for the full experience. I don't have any problem with that. I am not afraid of the snow or the cold. I grew up in New York where it got pretty cold. Not as cold as Alberta, but you know, I was in Alberta I guess two visits ago in November or December, and it was minus 35. And so I'm not afraid. Okay. Continued prayers from Rabbi Wyatt for everyone still suffering here in Panama City from the storm that hit there. I think that's going to cover it pretty much for those that wanted to get their prayer and praises in. We'll put David back up here in case I need him up there. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? All right. That's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the study, and we can open with one of the men to open with our opening prayer, as well as praying for all the prayer needs and the praise and prayer reports that we just heard. And let's go ahead and
Mic check. Abba, Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you have given us throughout the week so far. We ask that you have heard the petitions that have come before you, the unspoken, the jobs, the moves, the boot camp accusations, and Lord, we ask that you cover us and protect us and make a way out of no way. We ask that you bless this Torah study, that it be fruitful for all those that hear and do. And in Yahushua's name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay. Now, so we have tonight our Torah study, and it is, let's see if I can put this all in here on the screen properly. I'm just typing this out real quickly here. Okay, so it's Vayera, Genesis 18:1 to 22:24. All right, what does Vayera mean? And he appeared, or and appeared, either one. Okay? Because the verse begins with, and Yahweh appeared to him, to Avram. All right? To Abraham, I guess, at this point. Okay, excellent. All right. So we're going to read the Torah portion. I have room for 12 readers. We got a lot of people can read if they want today. The readings will be about 12 to 15 verses or so. I think I have one that's actually really long, about 18 verses, but otherwise we've got most of them about 10 to 12, 15 verses. So if you'd like to read, go ahead and raise your hands. We got 12 slots. Now, for those of you that are in the study, this is the best way to get the most out of the study. Two things. One is, while you're listening to the readings, okay, have something to write on so that you can make note of anything that you read or that you heard that you either want to make a comment about or ask a question about. And then also, to get the most out of the study, you specifically should be looking for, how do I see from what I'm reading? Where do I see myself in what I'm reading? What can you take from what you're reading and apply in your life today to help you in your walk and in your transformation process from what you are into what he is? Okay, that's the key here in our studies, is what can we glean out of what we're reading? Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul, says that all this stuff that we're reading was there written down for our example, so that we can learn from it, see ourselves in it, and grow from it. That's what we want to do here today. So the way this is going to work, and all of you, I think, are fairly familiar with the process, I'm going to call on each person one at a time. When I call your name, you'll come up to the mic. I will read a blessing over you. Don't turn on your mic, please, until I finish the blessing. That way we won't get any bad echoes and other noises. And then when I finish reading it, I will also tell you what verses you're going to read from and to, so you'll know where you start and where you finish. Don't panic if you go too far or mess that up. It always happens. Somebody does, usually each week. It's not a big deal. We're here just to be a blessing and to share in the word together as a community. And then after you finish reading, please remember to turn off your mic and lower your hand. All right. So we're going to begin with, it looks like Carrie Gephardt got her hand up the fastest there. So Carrie's going to be first. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Carrie, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless her and her family and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of her hands. Amen. Okay, Carrie's going to get us started in Genesis 18, reading the first 10 verses.
Can you hear me? Can you Yahweh appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre.
But hold on, Carrie, hold on. You're coming across really, really quiet. You're going to have to up your mic.
Okay, is this better?
That's better. I don't know if it's good enough for everybody. It looks like some ones now. Okay, try it there.
Okay, and Yahweh appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, while he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and saw 3 men standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, Yahweh, I have now found favor in your eyes. Please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts, and then go on. For this is why you have come to your servant. And they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran into the tent to Sarah, and said, hurry, make ready 3 measures of fine flour, knead it and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd, took a tender and good calf, gave it to a young man, and he hurried to prepare it. And he took curds and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree as they ate. And they said to him, where is Sarah, your wife? And he said, see, in the tent. And he said, I shall certainly return to you according to the time of life. And see, Sarah your wife is to have a son. And Sarah was listening in the tent door, which was behind him.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate that. Okay. Next up, and you can put your hand down. Next up, we have Kendall. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Kendall, who has come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Kendall, continue from verse 11 to verse 22.
Mic check. Okay. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah was past the way of women. And Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my master being old too? And Yahweh said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I truly have a child, since I am old? Is any matter too hard for Yahweh? At the appointed time I am going to return to you, according to the time of life, and Sarah is to have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh. And the men rose up from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them away. And Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham is certainly going to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him, so that he commands his children and his household after him to guard the way of Yahweh, to do righteousness and right ruling. So Yahweh brings to Abraham what he has spoken to him. And Yahweh said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very heavy, I am going down now to see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it, and has come to me. And if not, I know. So the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Yahweh still.
Amen. 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 Thank you, Kendall. All right, next up we have Steve Waffle. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless Steve, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Steve, take us from verse 23 to 33, which is the end of the chapter.
All right. 23. You can hear me good, yeah? All right. 23. And Abraham drew near and said, would you also destroy the righteous with the wrong? Suppose there are 50 righteous in the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to act in this way, to slay the righteous with the wrong, so that the righteous should be as the wrong. Far be it from you, does the judge of all, does the judge of all the earth not do right? And Yahweh said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous men within the city, then I shall spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, look, please, if I who am but dust and ashes have taken upon myself to speak to Yahweh. Suppose there are 5 less than 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, if I find 45, I do not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, suppose there are found 40. And he said, I would not do it for the sake of 40. And he said, let not Yahweh be displeased, and let me speak. Suppose there are found 30. And he said, I would not do it if I found 30 there. And he said, look, please, I have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahweh. Suppose there are found 20. And he said, I would not destroy it for the sake of 20. And he said, let not Yahweh be displeased, and let me speak only this time. Suppose there are found 10. And he said, I would not destroy it for the sake of the 10. Then Yahweh went away as soon as he had ended speaking to Abraham, and Abraham returned to his.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Steve. Excellent job. Okay, next up, we have Jonathan. Excuse me. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Jonathan, who's come up out of Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Jonathan, take us into chapter 19 and read the first 13 verses, 1 through 13.
Can everybody hear me? And the 2 messengers came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when Lot saw them, he rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, look, please, my masters, please turn in to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet and rise early and go your way. And they said, no, but let us spend the night in the open square. But he urged them strongly, and they turned into him and came into his house. And he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every part, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, and let us know them. So Lot went out to them through the doorway and shut the door behind him and said, please, my brothers, do not do evil. Look, please, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you and do to them as you wish. Only do no deed to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof. But they said, stand back. And they said, this one came in to sojourn, and should he always judge? Now we are going to treat you worse than them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said to Lot, Have you anyone else here? A son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters, and whomever you have in the city, bring them out of this place. For we are going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Okay, next up we have Michael. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Michael, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Michael, continuing in chapter 19, take us from verse 14 to 26. All right, Michael, we're not hearing anything.
Can you hear me now? All right. Looks like it took some time to get together. All right. And Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, "Get up and get out of this place, for Yahweh is going to destroy this city." But to his son-in-laws he seemed to be as one joking. And when morning dawned, the messenger urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Get up and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city." And while he loitered, the men took hold of his hand and his wife's hand and the hands of his 2 daughters, Yahweh having compassion on him. And they brought him out and set him outside the city. And it came to be, when they had brought them outside, that he said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plains. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed." And Lot said to them, "O no, Yahweh, look, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your loving commitment, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I am unstable to escape to the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die. Look, please, this city is near enough to flee to, and is small. Please let me escape there. Is it not a small matter? And let my life be saved." And he said to him, "Look, I have favored you concerning this matter also, without overthrowing this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I am not able to do any deed until you arrive there." So the name of the city was called Sozar, and the sun had risen up in the earth when Lot entered Sozar. And Yahweh rained sulfur and fire on Sodom and Amorah, and Yahweh out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back and behind him, and she became a post of salt.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Michael. Next up is Kip. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Kip, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. And Kip's going to wrap up chapter 19 by going from verse 27 to the end of the chapter.
Mic check. Okay. And Abraham arose early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Yahweh. And he looked toward Sodom and Amorah and toward all the land of the plain. And he looked and saw the smoke of the land, which went up like the smoke of a furnace. Thus it came to be, when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. And the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come into us, as is the way of all the earth. "Come, let us make our father drink wine and lie with him, so that we preserve the seed of our father." So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she arose. And it came to be on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, "See, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight as well, and you go in and lie with him, so that we keep the seed of our father." So they made their father drink wine that night as well, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. And the firstborn bore a son and called him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger, she also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day.
Amen. Amen. Sorry, there seems to be a little bit of a delay there sometimes when I click on the mic to go further. Okay. Thank you for that reading, Kip. Next up is Rick. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Rick, who's come up to honor Yahweh in the Torah. It is set apart one, bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. And so, Rick, it's going to be real complicated to remember what verses to read since you're just going to read the whole chapter. So go ahead and read chapter 20.
Mic check. And Abraham set out from there to the land of the south, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. And Abraham said concerning Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Abimelech, sovereign of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, "See, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." However, Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, "Yahweh, would you kill a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'? And even she herself said, 'He is my brother.' In the integrity of my heart and in the innocence of my hands I have done this." And Elohim said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. For this reason I did not let you touch her. And now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and let him pray for you, and you live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall certainly die, you and all that are yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning, and called on all his servants, and spoke all these words in their hearing. And the men were greatly affrighted. And Abimelech called Abraham, and said to him, "What have you done to us? In what have I sinned against you, that you have brought on me and my reign a great sin? You have done matters to me that should not be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view that you have done this matter?" And Abraham said, "Only because I said to myself, 'The fear of Elohim is not in this place, and they shall kill me for the sake of my wife.' And yet she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to be, when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, 'This is your loving commitment that you should do for me. In every place, wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep and cattle and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham. And he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, "See, my land is before you. Dwell wherever it is good in your eyes." And to Sarah he said, "See, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to you a covering of eyes before all who are with you, and before all others, and you are cleared before everyone." And Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants, so they bore children. For Yahweh had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Rick. Next up, we have Rabbi Tom. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May you bless Rabbi Tom, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Rabbi Tom, take us now into chapter 21 and read verses 1 through 11.
And Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said. And Yahweh did for Sarah as he had spoken. So Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the appointed time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Yitzhak. And Abraham circumcised his son Yitzhak when he was 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Yitzhak was born to him. And Sarah said, Elohim has made me laugh, and everyone who hears of it laughs with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Yitzhak was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mitzrian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. So she said to Abraham, drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of this female servant shall not inherit with my son Yitzhak. And the matter was very evil in the eyes of Abraham because of his son.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Rabbi Tom. Next up is AJ. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless AJ, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, AJ, continue in chapter 21 by going from verse 12 to 21.
Mic check. You guys hear me? That Elohim said to Abram, let it not be evil in your eyes because of the boy, and because of your female servant. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice. For in Yitzhak your seed is called, and of the son of the female servant I also make a nation, because he is your seed. And Abraham rose early in the morning, and took bread and a skin of water, which he gave to Hagar, and put it on her shoulder, also the boy, and sent her away. And she left and watered in the wilderness of Beersheba, and the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down about a bow shot away, for she said, let me not see the death of the boy. And she sat opposite him, and lifted her voice, and wept. And Elohim heard the voice of the boy, and the messenger of Elohim called to Hagar from the heavens, and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for Elohim has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Arise, lift up the boy, and hold him with your hand, for I make a great nation of him. And Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water, and gave the boy a drink. And Elohim was with the boy, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Haran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Mizraim.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, AJ. Appreciate that. All right, next up is that, who's reading? Is that Barbara or Fred? Just want to make sure who's reading.
It's Barbara.
Okay, let me do the blessing first. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Barbara, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless her and her family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of her hands. Amen. Okay, Barbara is going to take us now into the last section of chapter 21 by going from verse 22 to the end of the chapter.
And it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pichol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. And now swear to me by Elohim, not to be untrue to me, to my offspring, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you, and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water, which Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this deed, neither did you inform me, nor did I hear until today. So Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech asked Abraham, What are these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, Take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand to be my witness that I have dug this well. So he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. And Abimelech rose with Phicol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And he planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of Yahuwah, the everlasting El. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines many days.
Amen, amen. Okay, so Barbara, next time we'll have to just work on the sounding just a little bit over mic, so it came up a little distorted, but that was great. Okay, thank you, Barbara, for the reading. Okay, next up, as we go into the last 2 readers, so I only need 2 more as we go to chapter 22. 2 more readings. Okay, and Fred and Barbara, you can put your hand down. So we'll have Arthur and Raymond. Okay. You blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless Arthur, who's called down to Yahweh in the Torah. It is set apart one, bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Arthur, take us from now into chapter 22, from verse 1 through 12.
And it came to be, after these events, that Elohim tried Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, Here I am. And he said, Take your son now, your only son Yitzhak, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him as an ascending offering on one of the mountains which I command you. And Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Yitzhak his son. And he split the wood for the ascending offering, and arose and went to the place which Elohim had commanded him. And on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from a distance. So Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey while the boy and I go over there and worship and come back to you. And Abraham took the wood of the ascending offering and laid it on Yitzhak his son. And he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and the 2 of them went together. And Yitzhak spoke to Abraham his father and said to him, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, See the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the ascending offering? And Abraham said, My son, Elohim does provide for himself the lamb for an ascending offering. And the 2 of them went together. And they came to the place which Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham built a slaughter place there, and placed the wood in order. And he bound Yitzhak his son, and laid him on the slaughter place, under the wood. And Abraham stretched out his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. But the messenger of Yahweh called to him from the heavens, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not lay your hand on the boy, nor touch him. For now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Okay, last reader, Raymond. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Raymond, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Raymond's going to take us from verse 13 of chapter 22 to the end of the chapter.
Mic test. And Abraham lifted his eyes and looked and saw behind him a ram caught in a bush by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for an ascending offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Yah-Yireh, as it is said to this day. On the mountain Yah provides. And the messenger of Yah called to Abraham a second time from the heavens, and said, By myself I have sworn, declares Yah, because you have done this, and have not withheld your son, your only son, that I shall certainly bless you, and I shall certainly increase your seed as the stars of the heavens, and as the sand which is on the seashore, and let your seed possess the gate of their enemies. And in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Then Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Be'er-sheva, and Abraham dwelt at Be'er-sheva. And it came to be, after these events, that it was reported to Abraham, saying, See, Milcah too has borne children to your brother Nahor, Uz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Kesev, and Chazo, and Pildash, and Yithlaf, and Bethuel. And Bethuel brought forth Rivkah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Reumah, also bore Tevach, and Gaham, and Tachash, and Ma'acha.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Raymond. Thank you to all the readers. Appreciate everyone very much participating in tonight's readings. Let me recite the traditional closing blessing. Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Yahweh, noten haTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh your Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us a Torah of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. Amen. All right. Amen, v'amen, v'amen. Okay, real quickly here, just again with the announcements for those that were not here earlier, because we now have 134. I think when we made the announcements, we only had 50-something. So just a reminder that we are still going to be doing the Torah studies in Adobe Connect for the next week or two until I announce otherwise. I will announce, hopefully, at one Torah study to another that, making the change, if we make a change, so that we can do it live from the new building, the new Beth Shalom congregation building. But for right now, we'll continue here in Adobe Connect. Also, we're going to be doing a Rosh Chodesh service. We're going to be doing all of them from now on. We'll be broadcasting that live from Beth Shalom. We'll be doing it through YouTube. And it will be on Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That will be Rosh Chodesh Kislev on Thursday night, November 8th. Thursday night, November 8th. Okay, because Friday the 9th will be Kislev 1. All right, so we have that. And then, what else did I want to announce? If you're wanting to come visit, then we are going to be, just so you know, we're going to be doing a Thanksgiving celebration as a family. Some of the families will be participating. Not everybody. I mean, this is not a requirement, but a lot of families will be participating. We'll be doing that on Thursday, the 22nd of November, and that will be followed by that Saturday, we are hoping to have our official congregational grand opening in the new building. So if you want to come and visit for that, let us know, and we can point out places, hotels, etc., that are available. Really good deals can be had staying on the campus of Southern Adventist University. They do have hotel-style rooms. Actually, they're like small apartments. And they're only like $65 or $75 a night, and it's basically a two-bedroom apartment you can rent for the couple of each, at a cheap price. I think it's a pretty cheap price. So, and they're very nice. I mean, we've had people stay in them, and they're very nice. Okay. Let's see. I think that should cover it for the basic announcements. I will be going to Canada from Sunday, November 11th through Wednesday, the 14th of November for just a couple of days to help relaunch the Alberta congregation there. And so if you're in the area and would like to join us for some of the activities and meetings, contact David about with Greece, and he will make those arrangements. All right. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the discussion portion of this study from tonight. Generally speaking, we like to go chronologically if we can try to stick to that. It's not necessarily to be strict about that, but it helps us to see the flow of things as the events play out. And then also remember, we are looking to see what we can glean from these portions and apply in our walk today, or get answers to questions maybe that you've always had. Okay, so David.
Mic check. Great. So this is right in the beginning of 18. Just wanted to connect this to also the beginning of 19 and something that Rabbi had taught on last week, how Avraham lifts his eyes, looks, sees them, and then it says, and when he saw them, he ran from the tent. And then we see with Lot in chapter 19, he sees and he rises and he goes to greet them. So not only do we see Lot learning Abraham's hospitality protocol, but something that also saved Lot's life, but connecting it to this idea that Rabbi taught on in the book of Joshua, that we need to see and also we need to recognize what we're looking at so we can take action. So just making a comment that, we need to be able to recognize Yeshua, recognize his word, look at it, recognize it, and then take action.
Amen. Amen. I appreciate you connecting some of the things I said Saturday to things that were in this study today. That was very good. Also, a reminder that we are now posting the weekly Torah studies on YouTube. So the recordings that we make are going up on YouTube. And so those of you that were having challenges, I believe it was with the iPad or something like that in terms of watching an archive, they're now going to be posted on YouTube. It's basically going to be the same as this. It's the Adobe Connect screen recording of what we just did tonight. It'll be up on YouTube. So I see that we already have some of those on. I'm looking at YouTube now on another computer screen, and we've got Noach and Lech Lecha that are up there from the last couple of weeks. And so I appreciate the opportunity to bless everyone with that. Also, if you guys, when you're on YouTube, if you could subscribe, that would be great. Subscriptions do help the metrics that YouTube uses to refer people to our videos. When you're on YouTube and there's those videos on the right that you can click on that YouTube is trying to tell you maybe similar in topic or interest to you to what you're watching. Well, we get put more and more often in that right-hand column the more subscribers we have and the more likes we have. So if you happen to like a video, please actually hit the like button. And if you are not yet subscribed, it'd be great to subscribe. We now have currently 14,845 subscribers. Okay, it'd be nice to get that up to about 15 to 20 something before the end of the year here. At least a 15 would be great. Another 1,200 subscribers. Okay. We've been averaging about 470 a month or something like that, 400 to 500. So that should work out. But that'd be great. All right, just wanted to throw that out there. Now, let's see, are we as welcoming when Yah comes to visit us? Do we look to spend time with him each day? That's a very good question. That's a good point for us to ask ourselves, Dave and Amy. Okay, Pat Noah suggests reviewed last week's questions and answers any more from the second time around. There you go. Okay, we got more hands up. Michael Norwood, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Good. All right, I have two questions, Rabbi. In Genesis 20, 1 through 18, I want to say 17. Yeah, 17 to 18. So was there a time delay in their stay? And then the second question was, is there a generational curse with Abraham having a split family? And then now he has a split family with Ishmael and Isaac. That's my question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ask them one more time. So the first question was, Genesis, what was the verse numbers?
Yeah. Genesis 20, 17 through 18.
Okay, the last two verses. What was the question about that?
So was there a time delay in their stay there because Abraham prayed for them to open the room, but it would take some time for them to realize, oh, I can't get pregnant. And so that was my question for the first one. And then my second question was, is there a generational curse, seeing how Abraham came from a split family and now he has a split family?
I don't know that I would say it's a generational curse as much as I would say it's foreshadowing things to come, in that we are seeing the nature of the role of the firstborn and how the firstborn thing doesn't always play out to be literally the firstborn and those kind of things. So I think it's more a foreshadowing than a generational curse, but it certainly could be looked at, I guess, on some levels there. It wasn't so much that he was imitating or that anybody's imitating. So that's where generational curses come from, the likelihood that you will imitate what you see happening. But I think it's more of a foreshadowing. As far as chapter 20, verses 17 and 18, there's a lot of things in Scripture that are not clear in terms of the amount of time. And there are lots of places where the timeline sort of cycles. In other words, you're reading 4, 5, 10, 15 verses, you move forward through time, and then Yahweh starts and goes back to where you started or somewhere previous, and then he picks up and he goes back through time again, and goes back up to the present. So there are some looping things that are happening where it loops a little bit, where Yahweh will go back and give us more detail about stuff that has already happened or fill in some of the gaps. So hopefully that answers the question somewhat. Okay. Fred and Barbara, go ahead. Michael, you can put your hand down. Now, Fred and Barbara, I noticed that you did type something out, but your hand is still up, so I'm just going to go with what you typed out unless you want the mic. So that's fine either way.
Okay. In chapter 19, Lot says that he has two daughters who have not known a man, but in verse 14, he seemed to have two son-in-laws. I was just trying to figure that one out.
Okay, now I do sometimes forget that this is supposed to be more interactive. Does anybody want to jump in with an answer to that before I answer it? Let's see what kind of answers we get here.
But he can answer it.
Okay. People are saying he had more daughters. Some of them say 2 married, 2 unmarried. Many daughters, 4 daughters. Okay. Now, there are those, okay, that would read it says, have you anyone else here? He says, a son-in-law and your sons and your daughters and whoever you have in the city. Now, it is possible that they were just engaged. Thank you, Deirdre. Excellent question. excellent response, that they were engaged. They would still be considered son-in-laws even though they were betrothed but not yet married, which means they would not have consummated the marriage. Okay, so, and so again, it's the Hebrew being translated into English, and we'd have to go back into the Hebrew to see what's going on there. So the English preferred to call them sons-in-law. Now, if you notice, they left without them. Okay, so the sons-in-law don't seem to come with them anyway. And so that, shows you the level of commitment they had to the girls. All right? Now, the Rebbitzin said, Deirdre's a deep studier. I've witnessed it. Excellent. Okay, so Fred and Barbara, hopefully that answers your question there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Just put your hand down. You're already muted. Okay, now I've got Steve Waffle. Go ahead.
Somebody already wrote about this. I can't remember their name, but it was, oh, well, anyway. I had the same thing where whether it be the father, a representative of him, or leadership, or even a brother, how eager are we in our willingness to serve those who come in our path or to our door? And I see that I think maybe that's important, because maybe people do that based on the likability of the person rather than the need of the person. So that's something we can look at.
Okay, Steve, excellent. Okay, so let's go back to something that was brought up, I think, when David Baba Grease was talking about what I said on Shabbat and how that sort of plays into this. We have involved here, it says Abraham, he says when he was sitting in the tent, he looked up and he saw the men. Okay, he saw them. He recognized, he identified them. He knew who they were. He recognized, he saw them, identified them for who they were. Because you know what? There probably are some people that you should run from and not run to. So being cautious is not thrown out the window here. Okay? The idea is that he lifted his eyes up and he looked and he saw. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent to the door to bow himself to the ground because he recognized. And he said, Yahweh, if I found favor in us. He knew he was dealing with. So do you recognize when brothers and sisters and those that are the ger, the proselytes, come to our door and to treat them with the appropriate hospitality? Are you also aware that when you already have, I'm not talking about judging, I'm not talking about profiling or anything, but when you know somebody is a problem, are you still running to meet them? Are you still running out to be with them? Or are you realizing you need to create a distance there in an appropriate way? We had a woman many years ago. She did this even on live stream. None of you will remember this probably, so don't worry about it. But ended up going toe-to-toe with me over something and was so upset about it that she got up and walked out of the congregation. Now, I was asking her to stay. I was trying to I don't know what the word is, console or control the situation to keep it calm. She would have none of that. And here's the thing. I can't tell you how many of the people in the congregation and people that were looked at as even leaders ran outside to comfort this woman who had been rebelliously attacking the leadership in front of everybody on live stream. Okay, she wasn't upset because of something I said or did. She was upset because she wasn't getting her way. And she was being very disrespectful. I can't even get into all the details, including like taking the microphone out of people's hands, etc. But people ran out to go and comfort her. And is that what we should be doing? It says in Scripture that a reviler you shouldn't even break bread with. So let's start with step one. Step one is to look, to lift up your eyes and look. Try to increase your powers of perception and identify with the help of wisdom and the Ruach, what you're dealing with, and make sure that we're being appropriate in welcoming or keeping our distance from those that we're supposed to welcome or keep our distance from. Okay? And so that's really important as we go through this. All right? Okay, and then is there anything that might indicate Abraham was expecting visitors and was therefore raising his eyes and looking because of it? There really isn't. They appeared and he saw them, so he lifted up his eyes and he looked to see who they were. He noticed there was movement, he noticed they were coming, whatever, and he looked and he said, who's that there? And he recognized them. Because he says in verse 3, Yahweh, if I found favor in your eyes, he knew who he was talking to. Okay? So that's really important in step one in this. It is not a bad idea to contact leadership on that type of question. If you see people you don't know what to do with, good. I.e., was it some sort of appointed time? Not likely. It doesn't say. I mean, it certainly could have been, but it doesn't say. This is more about them coming to let Abraham know what was about to happen to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? So that's a big part of this. Now, let's see. Fred and Barbara, is your hand still up from before, or did you want to say something here? Otherwise, AJ, go ahead.
My microphone there. Okay. Mute my microphone. Okay.
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 All right, AJ, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me? Let me make sure. Let me do this. Very cool. So Genesis 20, verse 9, Abimelech and Abraham. So it seems that Abimelech was really upset with Abraham and really blamed Abraham so quickly. And I don't know if Abraham actually did sin or didn't sin, but my question is, should we be more wise or guarded in what we view people have sinned against us? Because it seems like he didn't really take a lot of ownership for this. Just curious.
Somebody's mic is still on. I don't know if it's AJ, if your mic is still on, so go ahead. Good. Yeah, no, I think that you hit a major point, and that major point being that, yes, we should be very much first taking ownership of our part in anything before pointing the finger, and even then, always to be reluctant to point the finger. And so it doesn't hurt then to get counsel before dealing with a problem you think you may have with your brother. Of course, you can go to your brother in a much more inquisitive and less accusing way. But yeah, I think you notice exactly a problem that we have is that we tend to attack first, ask questions later, or maybe just attack first and never ask questions at all. All right, because we already think that we know. We're all sort of Olympic conclusion jumpers, gold medalists, all of us. We got to be careful with that. Very, very problematic. Okay, and AJ, you can put your hand down unless you had another question. All right, David wanted to make a quick comment on something that connects the 613 commandments. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, you were simply referring to that situation with the woman and people rushing to go, kind of help her and greet her, Rabbi, and kind of, smooth over the situation. We were just learning just in part 5, I believe, about the ripping of garments, and that you were explaining that there's a possibility of ripping the garments in the times of mourning when it was not to be ripped. For example, Nadav and Abihu, they did something wrong, and so Aharon was instructed not to rip their garments. And you make a beautiful analogy. In the times where people bring things on themselves, we are not to rip those garments and go to their rescue necessarily, because those are the times where it can bear fruits of teshuvah. And so I just thought that connected here, that in those times where obviously it's of their own action, that it's sometimes necessary through, of course, proper guidance and leadership to identify that actually going to their rescue is actually going to be.
Amen. Amen. I appreciate that. Raymond says, might he suggest that this ability of Abraham to recognize what he was dealing with is not something everyone has. Well, I would agree that we don't all have it by default or as a gift or talent, but certainly it's something we should be striving to do better with. So I certainly would agree with that. Let me just see what else we've got going up a little bit further up. I missed a couple of things that popped up. Let me scroll back up here. I got a lot of stuff that popped up. Okay, I think I lost a lot of things because my screen won't scroll past a certain point. Let's see. David Bob Grease had said way at the back scroll is 18:14. And I wrote that in my notes. Is any matter too hard for Yahweh? Okay, let's keep that sort of in front of our thoughts. I think a lot of us really struggle sometimes thinking that something that we're dealing with is somehow too hard for Yahweh. We don't think that way specifically, but our actions and our behaviors basically make that clear that we just don't think he can handle it. I'll say that again. It's not that you openly and overtly say, oh, Yahweh can't handle this. Okay, you're not doing that. I know you're not doing that. All right? Well, maybe some of you are. I have no idea. But generally we're not. What we are doing is we are behaving in a manner that demonstrates our lack of belief that he can handle it. That somehow it's too hard for him. And we have to be very, very careful about that. All right? Now, okay, let's see. Right, he who created everything cannot be limited. Okay, let's see. Putting Yahweh in a box, a finite, limited box, is not what we need to be doing. Okay, cool. What if your brother always puts down every thought you have on Scripture and won't listen to anything else anyone else has to say? Stop talking to him about Scripture. Okay, look, I'm John and Robin, I am not attacking you. This is for all of you that have the same struggle. Knock it off. Stop struggling like this. Why do you need to tell your brother anything? If they won't listen, stop telling them. Why are you wasting your time? Until Yahweh calls them and opens their eyes and ears, there's nothing to talk about. Okay? Okay, I've got two brothers. They're a little bit younger than me. One's 18 months younger, one's 5 years younger. Okay, so even my youngest brother's 50. And you know how much scripture I talk to them about? Zero. Because they're not interested. Zero. You know how much scripture I talked about with them in the last 30 years? Zero. Because they're not interested. Why do we have to feel like this is that Christianese stuff again. We feel like we have to talk to, right, know your audience. Why do you feel you have to talk to your brother? If he's putting you down every time you talk about it, stop talking about it. Why waste your time with that? I'm not picking on them. I'm not judging them. Yahweh clearly hasn't called them yet. Okay? But so you're still indoctrinated, like AJ said, the Christian camp forces you so stressful. You know, we're still dealing with the Christian mindset of, we need to witness to everybody. We need to go out there and save souls. And that's just not your job. Go listen to some of the teachings I did, like the Father and the Son, etc. And Are You Saved? In the beginning of the first couple of parts of the teaching. It's not our job. It's above our pay grade. And so I'm not picking on your brothers who won't listen and who belittle you and attack you. But I don't know why are we struggling with them? Okay, I forgot who wrote the question. But, you know, John and Robin. Okay, so, you know, let's stop arguing with people. Okay? I don't talk about Yah, Yeshua, Torah to anybody that's in an attacking, unreceptive place. Okay, so it's just not, you know, it's just not something that we should be doing, okay? Okay, the witness that you need to be doing is in living the life and let them see it And then if Yah opens their eyes in his timing, he will draw them possibly to you to ask questions. Okay, AJ is one of the examples. AJ wasn't, on the same page as his father was for a long time, and then all of a sudden, Yahweh grabbed a hold of him, and guess what? Now he's in the room here in the Torah study. Okay? And so this is what we have to do, right? Erica Barker says, when I joined MTOI and I learned that it's not my job to convert people, I was so relieved. I appreciate that, and you should be relieved. It's not our problem, Raymond said the comments on not casting pearls before swine are relevant. However, that a thought to share the real pearls are less likely to be found in our own ideas, the confirmation of which tend to just inflate our pride, and more likely to be found in the truth passed down in a remnant through the ages, which we have to be humble to accept. And others have said that this is the job for the anointed appointed. Not exactly. There are some that are appointed, as Yeshua appointed and trained apostles to go out, but the majority of anointed appointed are out there teaching Torah and shepherding flocks and that kind of thing. We're not proselytizing, per se, as a command. Okay? Those guys were launching the early Kahillah, the early assembly. And this is important to know that they actually had a role to do in a time period where this was the launch of a new thing within the context of the current understanding of Judaism. All right, because the Jewish community did not, all embrace, although a lot of them did, this new idea of Messiah having already come. And so this is kind of the deal here. Okay. Candace, that's how I feel too. Once I learned that I didn't have to go out and do the Great Commission, I was also happy because people can be so cruel. It's very hard to go out there and get beat on by people that just don't want to listen. And so, that's why it's better just to point them towards the teachings, on YouTube or on, send one of my CDs or whatever, and let the teaching share the information. As a matter of fact, let them decide if they want to listen to it. When Raymond says, too many people believe they are already qualified to test the spirits when they are merely babes in the faith or even not yet converted. Abraham was a Navi. He was a prophet and well qualified to know the eternal when he saw him. That's true. Was Genesis 21:8, was that a bar mitzvah? No. Bar mitzvah is a Jewish tradition. It's not Torah. It happens at 13 years old in the Jewish community, not when they are weaned. Okay, Genesis 21:8 is talking about, and when he was weaned, he threw him a party, so to speak. A great feast on the day Yitzchak was weaned. All right? Now, this was not a bar mitzvah. Okay. Let's scroll back up to whatever else I was missing in terms of questions. I'm way behind on a lot of the things that people were posting here. As I scroll down. Jonathan says, hypothetically speaking, if Lot showed up at a Sukkot to better understand himself and his relationship with Yahweh in the context of community, what could he learn about himself in relationship with Yahweh and others of the moment his warning to his son-in-law seemed to be one as joking? I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, Jonathan, but I think the point possibly is, are we taking seriously when we're being warned, or are we just taking it lightly? And that's where the son-in-laws were not ready to take it seriously. Okay? Let's keep that going. Let's see as I'm going down. Okay, David says, well, Gary says Matthew 28:10 pertains to them, the apostles, not us. That's what I've been trying to say. Thank you, Gary. Good point. John and Robin, this is a brother we meet with, we aren't witnessing. But see, that's the whole thing, John and Robin. Who's in charge of the group that you meet with? Let's start with, let's get things in order here. No one. Do you see where that's the problem? Okay, this guy shouldn't be causing arguments, and he shouldn't be allowed to cause arguments because there should be structure. And so you're welcome to call me about this, and we can talk about it. But maybe you might need to decide not to meet with someone who's constantly belittling, putting down, and attacking what you believe. I wouldn't continue to hang out with somebody that would treat me that way. Okay? But see, this is what happens when there's no leadership and no structure. Okay, they have problems with authority. Absolutely, it's clear that they do. Okay? Let's see. Gary's fixing it to Matthew 28:19. Okay, good. Rabbi, okay. Let's see. Looking at 9:42, and I hate to miss some of your questions, but let me hit on some of the really important things that are in this portion. Is that okay with everybody? Can I do a quick shotgun here? Ones and twos. We're going to do some quick shotgun through here. All right. Here we go. Buckle up. Seatbelts on. We're going to go through this fast. Okay, so in chapter 18, nobody really mentioned this, but this is one of the important kashrut sections. Because people will talk about later in Deuteronomy and in other places or Leviticus where it says, do not eat boil a kid in its mother's milk. And so the Jews take that as to mean you cannot serve milk and meat together, or dairy and meat together. And here in 18:8, you see that the curds and the meat were laid before Yahweh himself. Abraham took the curds and milk and the calf which he prepared and set it before them and stood by the tree as they ate it. All right? And so several things that we see happening here. One is the kashrut thing ends up being not a problem. Now, if you ask an Orthodox, hooray for cheeseburgers, if you ask an Orthodox Jew how they explain Genesis 18:8, they say, well, that was before Moses. Yeah, but Yahweh doesn't change. Okay? If it's wrong, it's wrong. We go back to the game. The game is, does Yahweh change? No. So if he says something is wrong, can it ever be right? No. If he says something is right, can it ever be wrong? No. Doesn't change. Okay? So he can't be sitting here eating milk and meat together if it's wrong. Okay? Now, very, very important that we see that in Genesis 18:8. As you can see, that was laid before them. Of course, the Jews will also argue that he ate the milk first and waited 3 hours and ate the meat afterwards, or whatever the time is. I forget David, what's the Orthodox time between kosher? I don't remember, but if you eat the meat first, or the milk, I think they said they ate the dairy first, and then they waited, whatever it is, an hour, and then they ate the meat, or based on how fast it digests, or I don't know. Okay? So that's okay. So there's issues of timing there. So very important. We can see this that's in there. Okay, 6 hours after eating meat for dairy, half hour after dairy to eat meat. Thank you from the Rebbitzin. Okay. So no meat and milk together. No, you can have that together. It's not really great for your digestion though. Okay. So you might want to think about that from a digestive point of view. Now, also I want you to notice, okay, listen now. Did you notice that Abraham stood by while they ate? That's real high levels of hospitality. He made the meal, he served them, and then he stood by to make sure if they needed anything while they ate. Which is why leadership should go last at the meals, make sure everybody has and is taken care of. If you know me and you go to any of the meetings we go to, I always eat last. All right, unless I'm a guest at your place and you force me to eat first. But if you come to our place, I always eat last. Okay, so let's just make sure that that's Carrie says MTOI Cincinnati did 3 hours. Yeah, but MTOI Cincinnati was on the way into Judaism. MTOI never, as the Rebbitzin, as Gary said, we never endorsed that behavior, okay? That's why MTOI Cincinnati doesn't exist anymore, because they became Jewish. All right, now, and so you see Abraham serving them on a higher level. He didn't just have the food, sit down and eat with them. All right? So let's just make sure that's clear. All right. Now, next point real quick as we're trying to blast through here. 18:12. Sarah laughed within herself. But we know that Yahweh heard her. Don't think for a second that whatever's going on in your head, he doesn't know it. She laughed within herself. And then it comes up again where Sarah denies it in verse 15. She goes, I didn't laugh. And he said, no, but you did. Yeah, but she did it within herself. Okay, in her mind, in her heart, she laughed within herself. Okay? Of course, then she did the next dumb thing you could possibly do is when she got caught, she denied it. That's human beings. Don't feel bad and pick on Sarah and judge her. We're all guilty of that kind of stuff anytime. Okay, next. Let's see. 18:17 through 19. You know what it shows? It shows that Abraham was known to Yahweh. Yahweh knew him. He said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing, since Abraham is certainly going to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? So here he is. Listen to what's going on. Abraham is going to be great and mighty and be the father of great and mighty nations. And what is he teaching Abraham in this next event? He's teaching him about judgment, about mercy and compassion, about witnessing what's really going on. So there's witnesses. Now watch what happens as this plays out. So he says, because of the outcry in Sodom and Gomorrah, I'm going down now to see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry. Now, do you think for a second Yahweh didn't already know what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah? Of course not. Okay? Now, however, how many went into Sodom and Gomorrah to witness? 2. All right, so you have 2 witnesses going down, because on the mouth of 2 witnesses who have actually seen and witnessed for themselves. So they're actually physically going to witness. This is teaching Abraham Mosaic law before Moses, how Torah is going to play out. Because the law is not about Moses. The law has always been. And he's showing him how this looks for a nation, that you need to have witnesses and have to actually go and see it. Not that Yahweh wouldn't know it, but that he's demonstrating the physical manifestation of what this looks like. All right? Now, even the discussion between Yah and Abraham almost looks like a court proceeding, and Abraham presenting a case. Now, notice what happens in the discussion. First, I want you to notice that the incredible level of respect Yahweh uses in speaking to Yahweh. He's going before the king, going before the judge who's about to render judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. And so, listen to the way he talks to him. He said, look, please, I who am but dust and ashes have taken upon myself to speak to Yahweh. Or he says things like, let not Yahweh be displeased, let me speak. I have taken it upon myself to speak to Yahweh, suppose. I mean, he's, let me not be displeased, let Yahweh not be displeased, let me speak only this time. He's being so respectful. This is the thing that we have, again, a problem with, learning how to be respectful to leadership. We don't speak to leadership often in a very respectful way. And so here's, again, a demonstration from Abraham on how that's supposed to look. Okay, and then notice as this is going through, he says, well, what if there's, 50? Well, what if there's 40? I don't know, what if there's 30? What if there's 20? What if there's 10? But you notice, there's never a time where Yahweh says no. There's only the time where Yahweh ends the conversation and walks away. Did you notice that? So, Was Abraham really negotiating with Yahweh, or was he being tested? Okay? He was being tested. Because when we get to verse 33, it says, then Yahweh went away as soon as he had ended speaking to Abraham. Notice that it said that as soon as he was done talking to Abraham. When he was done talking to Abraham, that's when he walked away. Abraham was doing all the talking. You say, well, what if there's 40? What if there's 30? What if there's 20? So this was a conversation that when Yahweh got to where he knew it was going and where he was willing to go, it was done. You also notice Abraham didn't continue it either. Yahweh went away as soon as he had ended speaking to Abraham. We never see him say to Abraham, okay, that's it. We're not going any further. Yahweh just ends it and moves on. Okay? Let's see. Okay, chapter 19, verse 1, Lot sitting in the gate. We know that's a place for elders, for leaders. Okay, later on, they're saying, who made you a judge of us? Where they're wondering, what's so, well, I mean, look, you're a sojourner, but he's sitting in the gates. Sitting in the gates is usually a position of authority in the city. All right? And so you have sort of that thing going on. 1911, they were struck with blindness, and they wearied themselves trying to find the door. Are there not a million metaphors that we could see in there, little tight shadows? So they were blinded, given strong delusion. They couldn't see the door, Yahweh, Yeshua, the door, the Torah, proper behavior. They couldn't see what they were doing wrong. I love that sort of description. I'm running out of time here. Let me zip over to 1926. Okay, so she's made into a pillar of salt. Okay, pillar of salt. And when that happens, why was she made into a pillar of salt? What did she do? She looked back. Why did she look back? Why do you think she looked back? Well, she wasn't doing it to be disobedient. Why did she look back? Affection towards her former way of life, longing for something she was leaving behind, not wanting to leave, fond for the people, the place, family, whoever, all of those reasons. Curiosity, couldn't let go, heart was still there, all good answers. I'm not so sure rebellion is really the answer there. I think she did it for all the other reasons. She was, listen now, you heard me say this a lot. Do you think she was letting her emotions drive the car? All right, you see how that could be a problem? She was letting her emotions drive the car. I'm going to tell all of you, if you want to turn into a pillar of salt or have other disaster fall in your life, go ahead and let your emotions drive the car. Because when your emotions are driving, you are not thinking straight. It's like, you know what? It's like driving under the influence. You are, instead of a DUI, which is, driving under the influence of alcohol, it's DUI, driving under the influence of emotions. Okay? Don't drive under the influence, right, because your thinking will be impaired. Okay, so let's be really, really careful. That's right. I highly recommend the implementation of a feelings bag. Absolutely. All right. All right. So this is really important that we get that. Now, let's see. There actually is a Brit Hadashah, very simple connection here. Go to Luke chapter 9, verse 62. At the end of chapter 9, the last couple of verses, it says, these are people saying, when he said, follow me, and they all had excuses. Oh, well, let me go first do this, bury my father, or let the dead bury their own dead. You go and announce the kingdom. Or let me follow you. He says, well, but let me first say goodbye to those in my house, and blah, blah, blah. And then Yeshua finally says, no one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Elohim. I don't think you can get more, clear and graphic in how serious this is. If you are going to look back because of your emotional attachments, as all these people are whining about, they weren't saying, my father just died, have you no compassion? No, he was saying, my father's old and is dying soon, let me go deal with that. Yeshua didn't have a lack of compassion. But he's saying, look, if you're still emotionally attached to your friends or your family or your church or the city you live in or whatever, you got to give up those attachments and attach yourself to him. You got to attach yourself to him. And that's really the key. So let's understand, do you want to be a pillar of salt? No. Do you want to be part of the covenant of salt? Yes. Totally different. All right. That's going to do it. I probably had 20 more things to say, but that's going to do it for right now. Okay? Excuse me. I mean, we didn't even deal with chapter 22 and the Akedah, the offering of Isaac, etc. But that's a story that gets covered a lot anyway. All right. So that all being said, I apologize to those of you that did not get to ask your questions, or you did ask questions and somehow I missed them. Please don't be offended. Don't let the emotions drive the car. Okay? Let's not be doing that. All right. Yes, at least we now have a recording of Vayera by me. Okay, so I finally did one. So we have that. All right, so let's go ahead and have somebody come up and close the study. Do I have any teachings in YouTube to supplement this Torah study? No. At some point, I will record the Parsha series with me doing them as teachings. Anybody interested in that? Would you like me to do the Parsha series as teachings? Well, I guess nobody really wanted it, so I guess I won't do it. Okay. Yes, I need to get some rest. I really don't feel very good at all. I think I'm going to go up and have some soup or something and kind of get this worked out. Okay, can we submit questions beforehand? Absolutely. Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead and have, I don't know. Let's.
Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. We thank you with bowed heads and humbled hearts for the beauty of your Torah and for the example of Abraham, our father, and your servants, who dedicated his life to you and sought only to be the best servant for you that he could, and never sought his own aggrandizement, but only looked to be as much a part of your plan as you would allow him to be. We ask for our faith to be made like his. We ask for our commitment to be solid like his. We ask to be constantly reminded to look to the rock from which we were hewn, and to look to Abraham our father and to Sarah our mother. We thank you and we praise you for all the good words that you have put into the mouths of leadership for us to learn during this time, for us to be able to take in the fire and the light of your word so that it will drive away all shadow and cause to burn up like smoke all the chaff. We thank you and we praise you for all of these things, and also for the ability to trust that all of the concerns and hopes and dreams spoken as prayer requests, that you already know the perfect and best resolution to each of those things and are bringing them about in their perfect time. We trust in you to bring us to you safely again, those of us who should, and that for any of us who are elsewhere or on other missions, other journeys, that you will bring us to our proper destination, but that we will be here again listening to your word one more time next week, wherever we are, continually focused on your word and all your ways, and on participating in the work that you have set before your people in this time of the bride making herself ready for the return of Yeshua Meshachenu, our Messiah, and your Son, in whose name we ask all these things, and above all pray your will be done. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay. We will have the ladies' coin available soon in the marketplace. We just got to take some pictures of it and get that put in there. We are trying to get our marketplace back up and running. Those of you that want to call, how about this? If you can figure out how to click on my name with a right click and then say, or left click and say start private, I guess right click? Oh, I guess left click. Left click, start private chat, and then send me in a private chat your phone numbers. I will then tell you what order I'll call you in, and I'll try to call you back. How's that? So Dennis, Carolyn, easier than trying to figure out how long it'll take the phone calls. If you call me, better if I can call you back. So if you just click on my name, you can start a left click and do start private chat and then put your phone number. And then I'll just let you know that we can do that. And that'll be easier. Or you can just put your number here, but then I don't know if you want to post your number for the public to see. But if you put it in the private chat, that'll work. Okay, Carolyn, I got your number. Okay, let's see if there was somebody else. Dennis, I know you wanted to do this as well. Okay, Dennis, you just put your number there. That's fine. Okay, okay, Dennis, you are in Ontario, so I need to call you. Okay, Dennis, you'll be getting called by my cell phone because it's a Canadian number. So look for a New York number. And Carolyn, you're in the 614. You're in Ohio. Okay, so I can call you on the ministry phone. Who else needs a call tonight? Is there anybody else that needs a call tonight? I don't know why my thing is not letting me click now back to the main group. There we go. I'm back in the main group. Okay, was there anybody else that needed a call tonight? Okay, no. All right. Let me go ahead and do a quick wave. Okay, and Dennis, if it's okay, can I call Carolyn first and then call you afterwards? My screen is acting really... Okay, there we go. Okay, no problem at all. Okay, and then I've got one more. Naomi, what time tomorrow do you want to call, Naomi? Okay. My system is acting really strangely. I can't seem to click and change the groups. There we go. Hopefully everybody can still hear me because this is acting really strange.
We still hear you.
All right. Okay, hopefully everybody can still hear me. Okay, you can hear me okay? All right, good. All right, because when I went to go look at people's phone numbers, somehow I couldn't get back into the main group. Okay, now, we're going to do a quick countdown. When the countdown gets down to 0, we close the room. Oh, I was going to wave real quick here. Let me do that. Video. All right. A little scratch-a-roni for everybody. We are going to record the coin video. I'm just kind of put it better so you can see it. There we go. That's kind of better. All right. We'll get that recorded for everyone. All right. Well, listen, blessings. I hope everybody has a great week. Shavua Tov, Laila Tov. The Legend of the Coin, yep. We'll record that hopefully soon. It's a good-sized delay switching back and forth, apparently. It really was messing me up, the delay between the private pages and the others. Is it possible to e-transfer tithe money to MTOI? No. Okay? USA will not accept anything from Canada. You can only transfer it from Canada to Canada. Okay? There's some people have tried that in the past. It just doesn't work. The e-transfer is only between Canadian banks with other Canadian banks. Although I do get your checks, and that's fine, Earl. And or you can use PayPal. PayPal will convert it, and I don't know if I lose more with PayPal converting it than the bank converting it, but PayPal will convert it. That's not a problem. Okay. Can I please send you the statement of belief document so I can start researching other sites with it? Yes, send me ask for it on a Facebook message, and I'll just attach it back on the Facebook message. Okay? That way I don't have to remember to send it to you, but just send me a message, and when I see it, I'll just attach it back. All right. We're back to the countdown here because I do need to go. I've got to make 2 phone calls, and I'm not feeling all that great here. So, all right, so that's going to do it. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Blessings and shalom.